That Whistler's a decent company.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Collins.
Here.
Baloo.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Here.
Buxton.
Here.
You'll receive the council minutes from the previous meeting on the 5th, the amendments. Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. No one here for public speaks. So we can go right into committee reports. Service.
So under water break, under roads, we got water break holes all done. Worley and Noble, those 3 are completed. This year's paving project has been completed. We did a nice job on that. Have quotes for some spot paving. Like you guys approved that tonight, not to exceed $40,000. It's spot repair, so it's like intersections or quarters of the road, like over at the park at the fence, where you go into the park by the fence. It's all crumbling away. That's on that list. The list is there. Freddie has, I gave you where I want to get it done. The only one that's not on there is the Hartford and Noble. The measurements are listed on there, but the street's not. So he was going to send me a revised one, but he had sent too many times, so that's.
The intersection there, you mean Hartford?
Yeah, the last one, it just says intersection. That's Hartford and Noble.
I got you.
We got all the
And those
well
will
glued
be,
on it.
those will be grounded also. It's not just going to be a layover there. They'll be ground down.
I'll make the motion.
One second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
Thank you. The Route 30 potholes, so we made the famous sign on Facebook. We fixed that one because we had the hot fix now and got that all done, so that's all fixed up. There was another one further down too. We fixed that one also. Speed tables were approved last meeting. I know council had requested me to get a grand total after the signage and everything for municipal signs. That totals $28,227. That's for the complete project. $28,227.
Did you figure out where on Church Street?
Yeah, I was told you guys, I can take you out and show you exactly. It's hard to explain to you, but
Yeah.
what's that?
Is that that?
Let me see here. So Market's cut off here. At the top of the hill where we had that stop sign forever.
Right.
Right before it, right here at the edge of the hill before that road.
That'll slow them down on the way to the fire station.
Yeah, and on the way from, we kind of split it as much as we could, but that's kind of where we're at right around this intersection. I think it's on the east side of that intersection.
So
We're putting that one.
we're doing one on Church and Noble.
Walnut.
Walnut.
Walnut. Yep. It's just as you go through the light and head down the hill, right before you get to the flat, right as it flattens out. That's where that one will go.
Yeah. Motion to move forward that one, or do we already
No,
do that last time?
You approved it. You just need the signage in your package for municipal signs is $648.
Yeah, we will need a motion for that. For the sign.
So it's like-
Oh,
That way it'll
For
just
the
be all
table.
complete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's-
moved. I see it. Not to exceed 640. Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
What budgets that come out of Henry for these?
It's not our main paving project. It's a spot repair. It's more of a repairs for the repairs. I don't know
That's
exactly
his
what.
capital. It's the street capital fund. It's Henry's fund, the 2011 street fund, but it's the capital projects portion of it.
Gotcha. We don't get that from the taxes for the roads, right? It's a separate fund.
No. You get it from your gas tax, your permissive license tax and all that.
So underwater, concrete pad for the generator has been completed. It's ready for install. We probably won't be installing that till once the tower is completed. Just so you know. Reserve tanks for the tower project will arrive May 26th, which is a holiday, but that's the date they gave me on the sheet that I gave you guys. I'm assuming it'll be probably the day after. With looking at that, they're probably not gonna start probably till July with the drainage of the tank. That gives us plenty of time between the tanks getting dropped off and when they gotta drain the tower to do some test runs. Hopefully that all working. The communication between the pump house and the tower, filling them tanks up. So what we'll do is we'll shut the tower down and try to fill them tanks up, get the communication working, and let it run for a couple days to see how it works.
It's a good idea to do it while school's there.
So then buildings, temporary door handle on the back door of the PD has been installed. The new lock and handle assembly will be installed in 4 to 6 weeks. Under zoning, I wrote 2 permits since our last meeting. That's all I have for you. Any questions? Thank you.
Hey, did you get the prison toilets yet? Or is that-
No, we didn't do that. I called, one of our local plumbers and they were supposed to get back to me. They haven't got back to me yet. So I got one more, maybe I'll call, and if not, I'll address it again with you guys from the other company if we don't get it under close. I wanted to say before I walk away too, thanks for everything you guys are doing for the community. I think it has to be respected. The roads are getting better. The tower project's getting done. We're getting a police cruiser. We got a new truck at the service garage. Like, we're moving forward. I think it just takes patience. And I appreciate your guys' patience with the service department and the water department moving forward. I mean, it's coming along. I think we're gonna have it together here pretty soon. That tower gets done, will be really good. Thanks again, guys.
Yep.
That takes us to safety.
Let's take it what Henry said. So thank you from the police department side for everything you guys have done. Other than that, you guys saw the crime stats. Again, pretty much the same as last week. We're working through, have a couple larger investigations going on right now. Those are going pretty well and we're working our way through those. Cops grant opened up. So we're working on doing that. I'd like to try to get 2 officers through the cops grant this year. The minimum 1, but I think we may be able with our call volume, being what it is, to get 2 this year. It's kind of currently what we're working on, and that's about all I got for you guys. Any questions from anyone?
Speeders cut down a little bit. I noticed the signs are going well, and I think I've seen a couple officers sitting down towards the bottom of the hill at the bank.
Yep, I'm trying to run some there. Been out on Noble quite a bit,
Yeah.
and just trying to hit the side streets a little bit more. Some of that, so everything seems to be coming together from that aspect. I think once the cameras go in and we start hitting that and hitting the side roads a little harder, I think we'll have everything in check along with the speed tables. I think that's going to be pretty big for us. So we're doing pretty good.
When are they gonna start putting the cameras in?
Right now, tentatively, we're looking at August for the pole cameras. Yep. So September should be when we start issuing warnings. Through August and September should be when we start issuing warnings. So a 30-day period will probably be no later than August 1st.
So you guys won't get your handheld before that?
Probably we will, but the system itself isn't going to be up and operational until August. So, and that's tentative at this point. So.
And your cruiser, get an update on that?
Yeah, we're still looking at probably sometime early August at the latest. So I think we're just kind of waiting for the build and all that good stuff to come together. So, anybody else? Great, thank you.
Thanks, Judah. Thanks. All right, takes us to judicial. So, do we have anything? Very good. Grants.
Nothing today.
Very good. Finance.
Finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve invoices, of $112,714. That's $112,007.14. It's presented by fiscal officer Dice.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Dan.
Yeah.
Amstutz. Buxton.
I would also like to make a motion to approve payroll in the amount of $17,804.27.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Dan.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buxton.
And last but not least, make a motion to approve the April 2020, it says 4, it looks like on the meeting minutes, but it's 2025 bank reconciliation. pass those around.
Cutting trees.
I got a standing motion.
Second.
Roll call, Colin.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Canton.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
Yay.
Meeting packet, I believe, this also guys put in the appropriations report.
Any major changes on that, Kurt, as far as anything that wasn't really expected or?
No? And Derek, you asked about what fund the speed tables, 2011-620-500 capital outlay. We had $130,000 appropriated this year in that fund. So far, we've spent 251.13.
And is that same fund catching like his new service truck and that stuff, or is that a different fund?
Yeah, yes. That's where the payment for the truck comes out.
Is that about our average percentage spent for this time of year?
All depends what we have allocated at that time, yeah. We're gonna spend, Henry's gonna take a pretty good hit this year. He won't have as much to spend next year. We're spending a lot of our reserves.
I was just curious. I knew we've been doing, like he said, moving forward, doing necessary things, but as far as like what percentage is gone, you know?
Well, we've used 44% so far this year.
Does that leave us short on salt or anything? I thought we had some salt left over, didn't we?
Yeah, we'll be okay. We already had some
Yeah.
ordered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
No, we don't have any order.
But we had some delivered, right before the end of winter, right? We had some delivered.
Yeah, we use
Yeah.
most of that. though.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
don't have much, I think we have.
Alright. Maybe,
Yeah, it's taken care of. We should be fine on salt. We've got another 200 with
Right,
the new salt company. We gotta wait on the new price for it.
right.
But Kurt has already said we probably, if the price is around the same,
Yeah,
we'll be able to get 200. We might have to adjust it down depending on how high it goes this year.
right.
But we should have plenty of salt for next season.
If you could give us an estimate on how much you have currently at the next meeting, just how much we have in-house currently.
Oh, I'd say probably 175 to 200 ton in there.
Okay.
Would be beneficial to order any now, or do we just, is that
That's
plenty to get
Well,
started?
the order can't be placed right now until they get the new pricing and everything. We've got allocated 200 ton called into them, so they know when they make this agreement that we want 200 ton. So we had to have that turned in by a certain date, and got that done. And I think everything as far as spending money this year will slow down after this road projects are done, and the paving and the concrete for the speed tables and catch basins and all that stuff's done. There's a lot of major projects. I mean, the only thing we'd have to worry about, and I don't like saying it's WBs, I mean, there's not too many more projects coming up. Major projects, so that'll slow down.
The only other thing listed was the fiscal officer guys would like council to consider potentially signing up for SharePoint to basically make a lot of our records digital, from what I understand.
Yeah, I've been scanning, when I have time, a lot of the old maps that we have upstairs that are in paper form. And I've got them saved on a file on my computer. Every once in a while, Henry will need it and I can email it to him. What this SharePoint will allow us to do is it'll allow us to take those files, not only that, but the minutes, the ordinances, a lot of our old archive records, we can scan them into digital form, put them into file folders, and then I can grant access to like the council people, Henry, the chief, anybody that would like to see historical data for the village. It will be in these files that you can just go in there and just access them and look on your own. My biggest fear is that we would have a fire or a natural disaster here and we would lose all of our
Paper.
Yeah, because we don't have, the only stuff we've got digitized is what I scan on my end and maybe Dave scans on his end. It is saved up to Carbonite and the chief has it also on his, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that everything's going to be saved. This is something that I was talking to this Blue Tech Consulting, they're the ones that handle our email account. And it was something that I have been talking with him about for probably a year now, and he just happened to put together this proposal. But I think it's something that would benefit council, benefit the village. So I just want you to look over it and consider it. It would be a yearly expense, but I think it would bring a lot of our records up to date, and it would give a little ease of access to people.
Kurt, is that something we can use in the water department too, as far as the mapping out of
Yep.
where the service lines are at per
Yep.
house?
Yeah.
Because our book's kind of getting old down there also.
Yeah, we can put that, we could put that together and put it in map form and
That'd be
update
really
all that.
beneficial. We're starting to transfer it onto our iPad down there along with the rest of the valves, but that's a
Yeah,
long process, man. If we had somebody that could do that, that'd be great.
and really, it would be any of your records that you have down there. It just, it works as the same concept as what a server does,
I was gonna say, yeah.
but without the expense of the server. As we grow and as we keep going, we're slowly heading to needing a server network, but the cost of that is fairly expensive. This is something to allow us to create the files and play with them and see how they work. If we decided to go with a server network, these files would readily be transferable very easily onto that server network and everything. So it's just something I want you to consider. You've got it there. If you have any questions, just send it to me. And
Would residents have access to,
only if we gave it to them.
only if we did?
Yeah, only if we gave it to them.
Probably be printing them something out and handing it to them probably.
One thing would be nice if you went this route would be to have somebody come in. This is gonna take a lot of time, but have somebody come in, any ordinance books and all those things, and actually scan them in to actually where it's digital, where you all could actually search by keyword
Oh, boy.
and actually be able to find the ordinances that are in effect and not,
Just a PDF scan.
Exactly. It's gonna take some time, but that would be, first things first is getting it created and then finding out how you're gonna get somebody to scan them in. That's gonna take some serious time.
So I mean, with like our meeting packet now, so I'm assuming you physically scan that in as far as PDF and you attach it, I'm assuming, as far as access. How would that change? Meaning, how would this company then scan those documents?
Well, I put together your meeting packets in a PDF form. I don't scan anything. Everything's generated, saved. I just put everything together, organize it. I've got it saved on my computer, each PDF or each packet, simply because the auditor, believe it or not, asks for a lot of the information that's in the meeting packets. So right now, they're only on my computer, and they're on your computers and your emails because I send them to you. But basically what I would do would be to take my files and just put them on that SharePoint under meeting packets, and I save them according to the year. And then like your appropriations, your payroll report, your payment report, they're all just individual PDFs that I just sort of compile all together. Now, after tonight's meeting, when this is over, I delete those out of that file. I can always go back and recreate them. I delete them, and then next meeting, I start dumping stuff into that file, and then right before the meeting, that's why sometimes, depending on how fast I get the chief's information or Henry's information, I'm a little bit late getting in here because I'm still trying to compile all that stuff. I put it all together, and then that's when I send it out. But, SharePoint, you could take all those files and you could put it in there. Ordinances, I think my file goes back on Barb's computer 2007, 2008. But there's only 2 or 3 ordinances at that point that are in that file. The later ones, I've got copies of them, but I don't have all these signed copies. And that's what we would do. We would scan the ordinance book, we would put the signed copies in, and then you guys could have access to it. So you're saying, hey, do we have a dog ordinance, or what's our noise ordinance? You
We can
guys
pull
could
it
get
up.
in. You could
And this
go
is all the
search it.
expenses, is
The initial spend's probably, it's $5 a month, so what's that, $60 annually. to get it started, you're talking about 500. So you're probably talking another 500 after we figure out how we want to do it. Just to get started, you're probably looking at about $1,000.
Yeah, then you're gonna have some labor with the scanning. That doesn't include any of the scanning. That's
Right.
just,
So
that's
it's physically
creating.
coming here and scanning. all this
Exactly,
stuff.
it's gonna be labor intensive, because you gotta understand, it's not only the scanning, but it's then the naming of the document, you know what I mean? So it's gonna take some time, but I think if you wanna get, to Kurt's point, I think he has a very valid point in that if there's a fire, if something happens here,
By retention.
it's gone,
Yeah.
exactly.
Upstairs, we got a lot of death records
Right.
from early 1900s that we're required to keep from now till doomsday. We could be scanning some of that stuff in and making that, you get a lot of people that do genealogy and historians that would like to see those records. You can grant them access to that because there's no personal data or anything like that, but it just,
I think it's good for the turnover too, like whenever chief retires or I retire, or you guys retire from where you're doing. Like the next person that steps up, like it's right there on the computer. They don't have to go upstairs and dig through files.
right.
They don't have to go to my office and dig through books to find stuff. It's right there and it's labeled and done.
And the nice thing about it too is you can sector off that SharePoint like the chief. He's got information that none of us are entitled to. But he can put that into a file on the SharePoint, make it password protected, and he can choose who has access to it. And then should he leave or retire or whatever, the next person, he could give that person the access to that file and boom. All the digital stuff's right there.
Well, to your point more, right? So we work a lot from the cruisers, right?
Yeah.
And there are documents that we don't have, that we can't keep on the cruiser, computer, that if we had a SharePoint, we would be able to access. We would be able to issue summons rather than having to come back to the department and write it out and then go find somebody. We could actually do all of that from the car if we had a SharePoint.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Can I tell you what the final cost on this would be? I
Yeah.
can't.
No.
I really can't. I don't know. It's all gonna depend on how much information that we want to put onto it. And,
I mean, it's $5 a month.
right, but you're gonna have a lot of the scanning we can do ourselves. We've got our scanners will color scan it and stuff, and you can feed it a little bit at a time. This would really come out of the fiscal officer's budget, and, I allocated $97.50 out of my budget so far for the year, and we've only spent basically $2,800. So it's not like it would come out of any department funds. I could cover the cost out of mine and set it up for everybody. If we decide we don't like it, you just say, hey, we don't like it, and you just cancel the subscription and you don't pay any more for it.
What happens if the company goes out of business or?
It's all saved to the cloud. SharePoint is a Microsoft product.
Yeah.
And all the information is saved to the cloud. So once we buy a license, we have sole access to it. We'll have a username and password that's ours.
Microsoft's not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're not.
The nice thing about SharePoint being that's a Microsoft product with AI being introduced, it actually can pull things from other programs within Microsoft. It's a really nice program.
I think it makes sense to move forward with it. I don't think there's no sense in waiting and.
Well, I can't. If the council would like, then I'll get a hold of John and I'll tell him, let's start working on it. And as we get more cost into it and stuff, I'll keep you guys apprised. And as we get it set up, the big thing that really started it was the village maps. And what really started it was a couple years ago, I went up and had to go upstairs to look through the archives, but I get up there and all the maps are just thrown on the floor in a pile and there's stuff piled on top of them. There's a lot of historical stuff there. We've got a lot of zoning maps. We've got construction maps for the Hope Village, and we got stuff for the Foltz building. I think we have stuff before DeVille built your guys' allotment up there. We have a lot of that stuff up there, and it's just in paper form. It's not in digital, and some of that stuff should be kept on digital stuff.
Right.
Zoning maps. We've got how many zoning maps, and I think we got stuff for the fire station and things like that I think should be kept. And we don't use it a lot. We don't reference a lot, but we just referenced the old Hope Village. We pulled them out probably 2 months ago. Henry and I did. We had to look at something for some water lines, and but we had to pull the paper copies out. So
Well, yeah, I think it makes sense.
All right, then I'll get with John and I'll start putting it together. I'll put together, you know, a rough thing and we'll start feeding stuff to it and giving you guys access to it and see what you like. And, you know, I'll get with Chris and see what he needs to put in his and, you know, how we're gonna sector it off and different things like that. Just start playing with it and see how it works for everybody.
Sounds good.
I'll keep you apprised as things work out.
Anything else for finance?
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Buxton. Takes us to other, anything for other? I do see that there's a note here, a request for an executive session, anything before that?
I just wanted to comment on the trash cleanup. I think everything went smooth. I don't think anybody had any complaints that I know of.
The only complaint that I received was that this year Kimball was pretty insistent that if you're not paying for trash service,
When you
you're not eligible to participate. Yeah. And, you know, some were under the impression that the village was paying for this annual service, and no, it's taken out of what the residents are paying every month. So that's the only feedback, but as far as timing wise, I think it went smooth. I think I didn't hear any complaints in regards to performance this time, so.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
I had something for other. I had been, and this is for council, but I had been thinking with, you know, the direction we're going with the village, we've done a lot, changed a lot. And some of the things we've changed is I think pretty much everybody working for the village, you know, everybody, the solicitor, administrator, chief, mayor, the employees, are all making more money. And we're not. And I thought I'd bring that up. I haven't been sitting here. You've been sitting here a long time. Do you think that the council we're running now, band is more active per se with